Hello, today I want to tell about an interesting building that's located on Turon Street 77 near Cosmonauty. So it's not far away from our university, and there is a good chance you've seen this building, but I bet you never thought about the history and the principles of construction used behind building this house. In 1966, Tashkent was almost fully destroyed by an earthquake, and government had to basically rebuild the whole city. So they started a competition to encourage architects to create seismic buildings, and the winner was Afilia Aidinova. She came up with the idea for this Zhemchug house. It was a 16-story building made using custom-placed concrete technology that allowed it to be high and at the same time earthquake resistant. When using custom-placed technology, the first step is rebar installation. As you know, concrete handles tensile loads 15 to 20 times worse than compressive loads. To compensate, steel reinforcement bars, rebars, are embedded into the structure. These cages form the internal skeleton of future construction. That's similar to what we've studied when they do precast concrete. But the difference is, in precast concrete, they would produce those plates, and they would let it dry, and they would take these pellets and bring them to the construction site. But here, it's like they're building these plates right there on the site, and they instantly become the part of the wall. The next step is formwork and scaffolding installation. Formwork gives the concrete structure its shape until it gains sufficient strength. Wall and column formworks are made from steel or aluminum profiles covered with laminated plywood. Finally, concrete placement and compaction. Concrete is poured into the pre-installed formwork. To eliminate the internal voids, the concrete mix is compacted with deep immersion vibrators. The vibrator head is inserted into the concrete until air bubbles stop appearing on the surface, ensuring dense and homogeneous placement. Then they would leave the concrete to dry, and it's important how much time it takes to dry. In summer, when it's hot, it will likely to dry too fast and the cracks will appear, and they want to avoid this, so they use some techniques. For example, they may cover the concrete with plastic sheets, or even just water the concrete to keep it moist for longer to avoid the cracks. And in winter, they want to avoid the concrete to freeze, the water in the concrete to freeze. So they use some thermal blowers or special heating blankets to keep the concrete warm. Finally, formwork removal. Once the concrete reaches the required strength, the formwork can be carefully dismantled. This step requires precision. Removing too early risks damaging the structure. Removing too late slows down construction. And after this, the process is started again to build the next levels of the building. Let's now look at the advantages and disadvantages of using custom-placed concrete technology for housing. As to advantages, is high construction speed. A multi-story building can be built in just 1 to 2 years. High structural strength. Because of the absence of gaps and joints and voids in the structure, it's very durable. It can live up to 100 years. And also, what was especially important for this Zhemchug house here in Tashkent is that those buildings are very earthquake resistant. Architectural flexibility. There is no design limitation, so parking design of the flats can be easily edited and integrated. Easy remodeling. Only exterior walls are load-bearing, and the internal walls can be changed however they like. Actually, many custom-placed built houses are given to the customers with no walls, so custom planning is possible there. Even wall surfaces. Because of the formwork, after the construction is finished, the internal walls inside the buildings are already quite smooth, so it reduces costs and effort for final finishing. Now to disadvantages. The first disadvantage is construction challenges in bad weather. As we've already discussed, in summer they put plastic bags not to allow the concrete to dry too fast, and in winter they would heat the concrete, so it's quite hard. And overall, the whole building process is much harder compared to brick or panel houses. Apparently, it's easier to build the panels and then bring them to site, and then just make someone not educated to assemble those panels together. It's an easy job. However, for custom-placed technology, skilled professionals are essential. Also, because of this, the cost of building those houses is much higher compared to panel buildings especially, and to some brick buildings as well. Poor sound insulation against structure-borne noise. Drilling or hammering, because of the wall continuity, will travel really long distances. Poor thermal insulation compared to brick buildings. Poor exterior wall insulation lead to cold apartments, especially in winter. After the construction was finished in 1985, the 120 apartments were given for free to veterans, to people of art, and to people from neighborhoods whose houses were to be demolished. On the first floor, there were repair workshops and a huge jewelry store called Zhemchug, and later the name of this shop, where all the party elite would buy jewelry, gave the name for the whole house. The roof was also state of art. In different times, it served different purposes, but it's still the only functioning rooftop in Tashkent. Now, the Uzbek business elite gathers there, and they do brainstormings there and some team building activities. But before this, it was also used as a place where artists would gather. There were exhibitions there, even concerts, but it was not always allowed, because the place is located just about 1 kilometer away from the residence of our ex-president Islam Karimov, and usually they would not allow to make noise there. The building itself heavily relied on self-governance principles. It combined modern architecture with our long-standing Uzbek tradition of communal living, and formed something that's now often referred to as vertical mahalla. Every 3 floors of the building were connected together to connect big shared country yards. The organization and taking care of those country yards was communal. People, the residents themselves, were supposed to plant trees, look after those trees there, clean the space, and use all the features it offered. There were benches there were balconies with a nice view of the city, and the social life there was quite vibrant until 2000s. Children would play there, they could cycle, birthdays were celebrated there, and even weddings. But there were many problems with the building as well. First of all, many tenants started remodeling the apartment immediately after moving in, and thanks to custom place concrete technology, the inner walls could be remodeled however you like. And many residents used this opportunity to remove the wall that separated the entrance door in their flats from the balcony, and each apartment there had a balcony. So because of this, there were bad winds, and it was cold, especially in winter. Also, the people who lived on the floor with the country yard would often move their front door, and they would remove the rounded wall there, which ruined the whole idea again and made the country yard look more ugly. Also, many people were annoyed by the rounded corners and walls inside their apartments, and despite the fact that they were given special furniture for those special apartments with rounded corners, they didn't like this furniture and they used normal furniture instead. Also, every windows there in the apartment opened horizontally, but many people got used to windows opening vertically, and they replaced the windows with normal ones. In the basement, the architect thought that it would be good to use the idea they used in America with common laundry rooms, but instead of small washing machines, they put a big industrial washing machine there, and so no one used it because it required too much soap to clean clothes in this washing machine. Also, the basement was often flooded, and it was even in 90s fully filled with concrete. The pool on the roof started leaking into the elevator shaft, so people replaced the swimming pool with an aquarium with fishes. Also, back then, firefighting systems were not strong enough to reach 12th floor, but the building was 16 floors. So they installed a special system. In every apartment there was a sensor that would tell if there was a fire, and the residents of the house were supposed to fight the fires themselves. For this, from the swimming pool on the top, there was a pipe to every flat, and if the sensor started giving the signal, residents were supposed to fight the fire themselves. But the system was too complicated to use, and once when the rubbish chute was on fire there, people weren't able to fight the fire themselves, and they just called the firemen and they fought the fire. After this experiment, Other earthquake-resistant 16-story buildings were built in Tashkent. However, none of them were also used the cast-in-place concrete technology. But nowadays, this technique is widely used thanks to the advantages we have discussed, and today the building is a tourist attraction